Okay, so let me do a quick recap what we did in last session. So we talked about white box testing, right? And
Yes.
also within white box testing, we saw a couple of scenarios for statement coverage, path coverage, and branch coverage, and also a couple of testing techniques, that is boundary value analysis and equivalence partitioning, and also decision table testing. Okay, so today in this session also I would like to continue with the same testing techniques, couple of things, and also we will try to understand the test planning. Is basically a test management control. We try to understand it for a given scenario, right, or for a given application. We'll try to see what is the test plan. Okay. Then we'll see if there any time we'll see also the defect tracking something, and then we'll go with the tool.
Okay.
So first we'll see testing technique, that is state transition testing. So it will be something like this. Okay, so in the state transition testing, what generally we do is like it depends upon the current situation. Basically, it can be any kind of applications. It's not so like it is valid for only a web application or whatever. Okay, so if you say there is a login screen and it asks for a generally username and password, and okay, so generally we define this as an agent and an actor actually. So when you see the state transition, for example, you can start work here. This is the way we represent in general. So this is start and this is the first try. In the first try, what you are trying to do actually probably will provide the correct username and password. If it is correct, then you'll give access. Right,
Yeah.
right? If not, like if not in the second try. In the second try, what we do is probably the invalid username and password, and it will throw a message, please enter a valid credentials. And again, if you try for third try, right, and fourth, so on, probably it might close the application. So it depends upon the application actually. So for example, if you try for a Facebook or Google, right, someone thinks that probably someone is trying to hack, right? So so many times they are trying probably to send a verification message to a mobile, and it will give the mobile access number. Then if you enter the number, it will try to validate the things. Okay,
Yeah.
and it will give the control to the next step. So when you say validating the things, and who is doing this actually, because it is a system.
Yeah, it's a system. Yeah.
It's a system. So in the same way, if you think, in the scenario, we can say it's an agent, it start, and somewhere it should end. Somewhere it should end. When I say end, if it is correct, it should give the access. If it is not correct, it has to close the application.
Yeah, there should be. There should be trial. Like we can trial. We can do it.
Yeah, but if you think yesterday I shared one message, right? There is an ATM machine. Okay, you try to withdraw or probably withdraw amount, or you want to check something, right? So even for ATM also we can try to write these kind of state transition testings. Like first time we will try, it might ask for a PIN. Obviously, it will ask for a PIN. If PIN is wrong, sorry, if PIN is correct, obviously it will give the access and you can withdraw.
Yeah, the menu will be displayed. The transaction menu will come.
So suppose the PIN is wrong, probably the card will come out, will say wrong PIN or something. Second try, third try, it's fine. When try to go for the fourth or more than third try, right? Probably it will block the whole call itself. I think it will block the whole call.
It should. Blocked. It's 3 times.
So, 3 times. So again, you should call the customer care and make sure that I was trying, I forgot the thing. That's a different story. So these things, like why we are seeing the state transition diagram, it will give the clear picture, how the system behaves. What are the different states actually? So first the user is trying, and the second time the system is throwing the message. System is trying to validate something. So these kind of things are called as a state transition diagram. It's very simple. You can think a lot of scenarios like this is a login one. We talked about a ATM machine. Like you can think where we can start, write a state transition diagrams or whatever. It will really help to, come up with the test cases also. If you know the state transition, if you know decision table, or if you are good at boundary value analysis. Wherever it's applicable, it's very easy to derive the test cases. Is the whole idea.
Okay.
Okay, that's how it explains. So, yeah, generally we do it in this kind of a fashion. There's a flow to the start, which says transitions happening from one state to another state, and this event is occurring based on the transaction, or it's a kind of an action. It closes the.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Okay, so once you come up with this diagram kind of thing, right? So we can put in a simple table. We call this as state 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, right? This is start. This is first try, second, third, and fourth, and 6 is the axis. And 7, of course, it will close the application. These are the states we know for this use case. These states are fixed. These states will never change. Correct, right? If you take an ATM example, 1, 2, 3, third time, if the fourth time if you try, definitely will block the card. That system will never change.
Yeah.
Okay. So based on that, if you need more clarity, right, we can put that into a kind of a table. So it's called as a state table for invalid transactions. So when it's a correct password, where it has to move. S6 means this one, access. Correct, right? If it is incorrect, I mean, first try you're trying to do, if it is incorrect, you should go to first try. If it is again incorrect, you should go to S3, again incorrect S5, but again it's incorrect, it should not go to S6. It should close the application. So by looking at this easy, the tabular form, right, it's very easy to even write a test case and even execute a test case. If somebody want to execute test case, right, you can easily represent them. Oh, okay, this is my state table for valid or invalid transaction. This is how it looks. You try this. So any layman can easily execute this kind of test case.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Got it.
Okay. So that's very simple state transition. You can think about it. You want any kind of scenario. I think yesterday exercise what I gave, right? You can start writing a state transition testing for ATM transaction, the ATM pin validation or whatever. You can do that. That's what we can do. Okay. Next, we'll see kind of a use case testing. I think you might be knowing what is use case testing. It's a way to identify the test case that cover the end-to-end scenarios or the entire system, or it can be something like entire flow.
Yeah, end-to-end basically.
Basically. So if you take a bank example, like what we're trying to see in a couple of previous sessions, right? Wherein we have different modules, we log in and we go to the current balance, check the current balance is there or not. If it is there, try to do a deposit or a transfer or withdraw and verify the, the current balance is updating properly or not. So if you take those cases, right, so you can easily come up with the use cases.
Yes.
Okay, so in the same way, I think I'm taking some example over here. Generally, we define this as an actor and a system. So actor is nothing but a user, and where a system, the software package, what you're trying to test, it will, throw the messages. So, for example, is there a valid username and password? What should happen? It will give an access. And if it is, if it is incorrect or whatever, that also is incorrect. If password is not valid.
Extension basically the
Negative cases.
Negative.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Because password, see, at least one negative cases you should try. Because in use case, what happens? Most of the time in UAT, if you take it right, user acceptance testing, they do alpha, beta, whatever testing. You need to make sure system works properly according to the use case. In a use case, nothing but a positive case at least. User should be able to log in, do withdraw, deposit, or transaction. But at least one extension, why we call, at least one case you should see like how it is behaving. So if you try it out for an invalid password, where it is able to log into the application and do the transaction, that should not allow basically.
Yeah.
Not allow. So this how we do. It's just very simple. Use case basically is an end-to-end. Suppose if we talk about Orange HRM, right? Suppose I'll take Orange HRM. And I log in as admin. See, this is one use case for me. So admin, I logged in, and I should be able to, there are a lot of modules over there. Probably I should be able to create a new employee, and we should be able to create a new timesheet. Okay.
Yeah.
And you should be able to apply the leave. See, there are a lot of use cases will come into picture once you start Orange HRM, because till now we are taking, some time to understand the basic stuff, the login screen or ATM machine or the banking application or whatever. But when you go to real time Orange HRM, right, we see lot of use cases. You need to come up with a lot of use cases and tell us like these are the use cases you can cover, these are the decision tables you can try to do, or these are the cases where we can apply the boundary value analysis. You know the technique by this time, right? Boundary value analysis or equivalence partitioning. If you know the technique, you need to write a lot of test cases and come up with just a use case kind of test cases. So once you are ready with use cases, you can every build or every release probably need to execute those use cases to make sure the product works fine. The purpose of creating the use cases is the same. I told it in the previous session, we do a lot of regression cases. I gave a good example with the sanity, smoke, or a regression. Regression is generally done when there is a change in the environment, change in the environment or change in the bug, or is there any new feature is given to make sure that existing functionality or the existing feature works properly. That is a regression, right? But once you are done with the regression, in general, real time, what we do, hey, can you run the use cases to make sure, we touch all the modules in the whole application, and user is able to, run these use cases, basically, the positive cases is working or not. So once you are ready with the use case test cases, then only you can execute this. If you don't know what are the use cases, you can't really do it.
Yeah.
That's what, when we try to create a test case, we need to be careful, like what kind of a test case you are trying to create. This is the test case is a positive, is a negative, or is a UI related, is a validation related, or it could be a verification related, or somewhere like if there is a backend change, right? So even those test cases also we can start writing. These are my use case test cases. These are my regression test cases. These are my sanity or smoke test cases. Need to write because test case is a primary task that you should be ready. If it is there, then it is very easy to execute the things. Okay, so in the same way, if you take this Orange HRM, user management, job, organization, qualification, I think probably can write fourth test case for this. There are like configurations and performance. Maybe have something like reviews, KPI list. So in every build, we need to make sure that all use cases are executing properly.
Okay.
So probably get more clarity once you start, writing a test case for Orange HRM. Okay. And we'll see. This is not a technique. Basically, we'll try to see reviews. So reviews, in general, what happens is kind of a internal process. Basically it's a kind of a static testing. When I say static testing, right, there is no code or there is no application in front of you. This is basically depends upon the internal process. Let's say I got some document and somebody said, hey, come up with test cases to make sure that, we release this feature in the next build, and the next build is coming up in next 1 week. Okay. But what happens like internally, somebody is on vacation or you are off or totally team is too busy with the things. So probably we go for a meetings. We do a lot of meetings. We call all developers, business scientists and everyone and say, we came to know that some feature is coming up. This is what we understand. So is there any change need to be done? Or what kind of a flow or what kind of a communication we follow to make sure that it runs smoothly to release the builds or features or whatever. So it is kind of a meeting. So probably you know very well, like
we used to have it. Yeah, we used to have internal meetings, lots of technical all together. Yeah.
Yes. If you are in a technical panel, probably we'll go and try to understand technical things. Sometimes it's not required. Basically, developer are the core ones, right? They try to do that. Or if you are a lead or a manager, probably they will call you in a meeting. They will not call like junior guys to really to know the technical stuff, the internal parts of the code or whatever.
Yeah, got it. I got it.
Okay. So in generally, they call something like correct. It's called like a kickoff meetings, and the goal of attending a meeting, they do a MOM, like minutes of meeting.
Minutes of meeting, yeah.
Yeah. If you remember these things, right? So there'll be something like a moderator.
Yeah.
They internally call it a moderator. Moderator plays, is a manager or leads the meeting and sets the agenda. He'll say, we'll send a meeting request. The agenda of the meeting is to, understand the new feature that is requested, right? It's very simple. So what is the feature?
Yeah, basically we were like a new product is an old product we need to enhance or we need to add the feature, implement it, and how everybody gives their suggestions and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
How we can do it.
Yeah, exactly. But what is the reason? What do you think? Why we should do a review?
A review?
Yeah. Why we should go for a review meeting as a tester, right? Suppose you are sitting in the conference trying to attend the meeting. So why do you think that is very important, the review meeting?
The tester should agree because the product is going to change, like a product is going to enhance, so tester should know what all other features are coming and how will product behave and all the systems. So it's necessary, and he can also give their input also because he tests the product, he knows the product well. So all this,
Correct. So at the end of the day, like something like all should be on the same page. We don't want to deviate the things, and when I say deviate things, it should not say take the worst.
You didn't.
Yeah. This happens in our experience also. Something like
everybody says you didn't involve us, so we can't help it. If anything fault is there,
this happens. So and even the risk factor is also very important. Let's say we are going to develop this is what the client requires. But probably sometimes what happens, client may be wrong sometimes because if you try to implement this, there are a lot of impact areas. Testers need to test all the cases. It will take a lot of time. You cannot ship the product by next week as you planned. For you, it looks like a very simple change. Probably when it comes to QA, we need to give the suggestion for them, right? So we need to see the impact areas. We need to write it down somewhere. These are the impact areas for the new feature. It will take this much of time to come up with a use case or test case or whatever. So basically, as you said, it will help us to understand.
At least first we can discuss, then we can tell to the client, okay, boss, we will like this feature gets this much effort, this much time, this much all the cost and everything once we discuss. So it should require enough. Yeah.
Okay. Good then. So this was very simple. I tried to explain the state transition testing, use case testing, or test review. Test review is not typically a technique, but it is a kind of a static testing. I told it. So just things. And very important next session, we need to understand our test plan.
Okay.
So I think in the demo somewhere I have already shared the orange SRM test plan for you actually.
I'll go through.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
if you want any in detail explanation, probably you can do that. Or when you go to the orange SRM, so when you take and try to understand the system, there also we can do. But what I'll try to understand, I'll just run for a couple of minutes and try to understand the test plan. So according to you, what is this then? Probably you have seen the document, something you understood, right? So even in each session, I'll be always repeating like, test plans, test cases, they are very important or whatever. So what is test plan according to you?
According to me, like a test plan should be we should plan how the scenarios will come. We need to like negative and positive things of the product, and we should plan the things then only we need to process further. Basically, this is the first step to test the product. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So this happens. Let's say you get a mail saying that next week we are releasing a build called 6.5. Okay, the build version of the app is 6.5. So they will simply shoot a mail. What is the plan for a QA? I'm telling internal QA. Some management team will say, hey, what is the plan for 6.5.1? 6.5 the release. So what you will do is like you try to understand what is coming in this build. They'll say, hey, I'm planning to give 10 tickets that you guys raised in previous builds or whatever, and customer really wants these fixes. We are trying to fix this, and also I'm giving couple of features, the brand new features. Then what you will do immediately? You put a meeting, you put a review meeting, correct? You know what is review meeting by now? You go to the review meetings, you'll call everyone, you understand the tickets, you understand the feature, and probably on that meeting, you may not come up with the exact plan. When I say exact plan, you can't say how much time you will take to execute. You can't say because you need to see the feature, you need to understand the system, or probably you need to see the resource.
With team.
Correct,
with
exactly.
team
Resources.
also.
Yeah, team also. So you will do what you will do. You'll come back to the team and you'll put a internal review meeting for only QA guys. So again, we'll call everyone. Hey, say what is coming, what the feature. Probably there are 10 different resources. We'll try to understand the system and what are the test case already written or not written to come up with the test case. Basically, understand the features very well. And somebody will say, hey, I can come up with 30 or 40 test cases. It's just an estimation based on the experience, based on some methodology. Okay, they will come up with some estimation. Hey, I can write 30 test cases, 40, 50, I will take 2 hours. So by the end of the meeting, right, so you will collect all the cases and you'll say, hey, I need 10 hours of solid testing for this plan. So you'll shoot out a mail. This feature will take how many hours and who's working, whatever. So based on this, right, so everything needs to be included in the test plan. For example, which browser you are testing.
Yeah.
What browser we support to the client. Basically, if it is i8 or 910 or Chrome, Firefox or Safari, whatever, you need to come up with clear cases and what to test and what not to test. This is very, very important in test plan. What to test basically and what you are not able, in the sense, what not to test. Based on this feature understanding, I believe performance testing is not required. It depends upon the situation. It depends upon the cases. Performance testing is not required. You can clearly shoot out a mail or put in a test plan that we are not going to execute any, kind of performance testing. Or sometimes it can happen that we are not going to do a cross browser or a platform testing. We have a limited resource. We will verify our product from QA only for IE8 or IE10 or Mac or whatever.
Yes.
Because what happens is to run the same use case or test case or 10 hours, what we planned, right, need to be executed for all the browsers. That's all the browsers you can see, right? IE, Mac or the Ubuntu, Linux machines. So different machine and different browsers. So everything need to be included in your test plan. Who is testing? What are the resource? And what is the strategy basically? Yeah, how much time it will take? Yeah, time. And what is the strategy and what you are following, or which tool you use to maintain all your test cases? So till now, I have shared you only the Excel sheet, right? But I told in the first demo class clearly that no company maintains any kind of Excel management. It's just to learn, that's it. But probably you should go to a tool like open source tool or QC, some tool, you need to manage those. So every in and out, you need to be mentioned in the test plan. For example, I'll give what is the entry criteria and exit criteria. Suppose you take the build for the same scenario 6.5, you know that 10 tickets are coming. You also know that couple of features are coming, and you also plan very well that it will take a lot of time to execute the things. And what is the entry criteria for to execute these things? What is the entry criteria? So you need to mention that build should be more stable. We'll do a sanity check. If sanity check fails, right, we are going to reject the build. Correct. So these things we closely mock up in the test plan. Okay. Each and every step. And what is the exit criteria? So once you are done with the testing, right, what would be the exit criteria? So what is the exit criteria? You ran all 10 hours of testing and you did a lot of according to the plan, you execute a lot of test cases. And what is the exit criteria? Somewhere it has to exit, right? You can't say I'll be keep on running for a whole. So you need to clearly say that what is your exit criteria. Exit criteria is all 10 tickets it's already communicated to QA should be working. Should be working perfectly. And the new feature, the basic feature at least it should be usable. We understand sometimes what happens in new feature, you come up with 100 test cases and let's say all positive validation is working and still we see a couple of issues. When I say couple of issues, probably P3 issues. I'll come back to the priority 3, how to define these priority bugs. That will cover in a bug tracking tool. So it's something like what are the P3 issues or P2 issues or high priority or high critical bugs. If that is there, we cannot release. That's the exit criteria. If all the tickets are closed, if application is working smoothly, then we can easily exit the things and we do a release note saying that these are the bugs still exist in our product. These are only P3, P4 issues. We will take it in the next release. Because customer, we need to give the build back, right? He's waiting for that. You can't say P3, P4 is really not impacting any business. Then you can release. So you should be very, very cautious in defining these test plan. If you fail the test plan or if you fail to derive this test plan, it will screw up the things. They will end up with a lot of question asking why it is not done and how come it's missed on even test plan. That's the reason this test plan, once it is done, will share probably to the whole team, whole development team or the whole team to make sure that what QA is doing. They should understand what QA is, how they are executing, what is the execution style. Okay, they should know very clearly. That's what. This example says in scope. That's what I was telling. What not to test or what to test or what in scope, what is out of scope. This again based on situation. I can say I can test for process platform. We have a tool in place. Probably I can test functional only black box testing. No white box testing. We are not going to do for this application. So anything you can mention. Whichever is valid for you. And also we need to do kind of a risk assessment. This is a risk factors is very, very important. So what is risk basically? And risk is something like kind of a dynamic, right? So there could be like project risk or a product risk. Okay. So when you say project risk or something like internal member is big. He's leaving the company. And probably he was a critical resource for you. He was very, very critical resource for you. Then how do you manage? See, already you planned 10 hours. You take the previous example. And draw feature is there. That feature, that guy was, he came up with the test case and everything. But the next day, he suddenly put the papers and he's not there. He's leaving the company or even for a vacation. This is a risk for you, right? There is, you plan something, that resource is not there, then how can you deliver the build? You can't deliver. Or if you want to deliver, you need to plan for that.
Yes.
The management says, no, you need to deliver. We don't care who is leaving, but make sure that other team members work something for this and need to release. So we need to do a risk mitigation. So you know the risk. So what is the outcome of this? What is the mitigation? How do you want to fix this risk? So these things we also include in our test plan. So what is the impact if it is leaving? Is it very high, medium, or low? That's what I said. What is the mitigation? So what is the mitigation for this in this case? If it's leaving, obviously you should give a KT, right?
Yeah, knowledge
transfer or buffer resource, you can swap it, and if somebody is good at this, you can immediately probably have a test case already, try to execute the things. So there can a lot of scenarios you can think about this project risk. And sometimes we also we face something like is there risk in an environment? Let's say we need to test a thing in a new Ubuntu machine, something like or Red Hat machine. Okay, so we never tested our product in Red Hat. This is the first time we are doing, and till now we delivered working on these platforms like Windows 7, 8.1 or whatever. And in this release, right, we make sure that the product works on Red Hat. Now, since you are executing the first time, right? For you, it's the first time, correct? And for a product management also, it's the first time. It's the first time they are doing a setup on a Red Hat and they are deploying the build, correct? And there is a build management team. This is the first time they are executing the build. And like I mean to say, like they are planning to create environment and deploying the build. So across the team, if you see, all are getting this is the first time they are facing these things. The first time they are trying to release to the customer. Then there could be a risk. Example, suppose something went wrong in the environment. Something went wrong in the environment. Something is not supported. That is gone case, right? You cannot really think of executing the things. So, but anyway, we're not going to go to the environment and check Red Hat it is really working or not, but they will deploy and give the application to you. Just access the URL and try to execute the same test case. For us, there is no much change. I mean to say, we really will not go to the Red Hat environment and see what's happening. No. End user, what happens? They deploy the build, but what end user will get is he will just get an URL. He'll open in any browser and he'll start running the use cases. He doesn't know, okay, really Red Hat is coming up, Ubuntu is running or Windows. But there's a client requirement saying that, no, we need in this because Red Hat is free. We don't want to give any subscription for you guys. If it is Windows 7, 8, this is what we support. I don't want, because it is a customer headache, right? Again, you have to pay the licensing and all. So sometimes these are, fall in the risks. But QA should know what's really happening. And sometimes there could be a product risk also. You need to do kind of a risk-based testing sometimes. You see this suppose sanity or smoke testing. That's what I told. Once you receive the build, we run a sanity and smoke testing. You know what is sanity and smoke testing, right?
Yeah.
So high level, test case or very critical use case is working properly or not, so that we can take a build. Suppose it is not working, then what you do? Suppose sanity failed.
Yeah.
So as a QA, what you will do?
So you will simply
shoot
development.
Yeah.
Development.
Yeah, so you just go back, put a meeting or send a kind of a review, right? Kind of a communication you do saying that you're not able to, run
log in,
or
log
in. Yeah, or probably they try to install in Red Hat. So you guys said it's installed, but for us, once I log in, I'm getting blank page. Probably there could be issue in the installation of the product itself in that new environment. Anything can happen. So all these things are covered, in the test plan. How we are going to act when something went wrong? What's your plan? When something is running smoothly, then what's your plan? So if all positive cases, negative, everything you need to handle very well in the test plan. Probably if you look at the this thing, right? What is that? Orange HRMA already shared. There's a huge document around 26 pages for test plan. If you look very closely, right? So probably you will get more clarity. It again depends upon the example what we take. But till now, I took very simple example to understand the plan. But when you go to Orange HRM, there is a huge document in front of you. You need to thoroughly see what's your plan.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, right? In general, company what happens for a junior level, they may not, try to give the assignment or task saying that come up with the test plan. They won't do in general. So test plans are generally done by the senior management or senior guys basically. They do a lot of things. Or probably they will try to involve. They will try to involve. But as a fresher or as a training part, right? But you should be very, very, at least you know what is test plan, what is there in test plan. And somewhere if you're involved, yes, you can clearly say, yes, I involved and I given some estimation, something like this.
Okay.
It all depends upon you, like how do you manage at the interview tips.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, we include kind of a progress report. So when I say progress report, I got 20 different functionalities, how much test case you came up with, I mean, how much test case failed, not run, or not completed, how much of. So this is basically the execution. Once you start, test plan is ready, test cases are ready, or probably the use case is ready. Then next, once you receive the build, you should start executing the test cases. But when you start executing the test cases, there could be a lot of failures. When you see this table, right? There are 449 test case and pass only 247 and failed only 4.
Yeah.
When you shoot a mail saying that there is a failed test case, immediately they will ask you, is this a critical bug or is a major or a minor bug?
Okay.
So you need to be more clear. When I say fail, all 4 are very critical bugs. These need to be fixed in this build before the release. Then what happens? Again, the developer will see this mail. He say, oh, all 4 are critical. This has to be fixed. He will fix the build. He will fix in the next build and provide to QA. Okay. I think I clearly explained this scenario when I was trying to do a sanity test case, right? Wherein I explained, now suppose you get a 6.5, you'll get a fixes and we do a retesting. We do a retesting means, okay. Testing in a retesting or also regression testing. Correct, right? So retesting something like you already tested something that was failed and it is given, a build is given to you, then you should do a retesting once again to make sure that fix is working. When I say fix, is nothing but this one. The 4 test cases got failed, right? That fix.
Okay.
But apart from 4, because these were very, very critical bugs. Once the fix is verifying, immediately what is your regression plan? These regression plan also you should mention in your test plan. Means whenever we get something getting failed, if development team is giving a build, we do retesting of the bugs. Retesting means it's verifying your bugs, what you raised. It's very simple. Apart from that, we also see, because this is a very critical bug, we need to do a regression test case in and around of this functionality. For example, I'll give you. Let's say there is functionality 8 and you found one critical bug. Another functionality says 12, 2 tickets you found. Another 10 you found 1. So in total 4. So these 4 tickets are not on par with a single functionality. They are with a different functionality. But is there any impact of this to functionality with the functionality 12?
Functionality.
Is there any, is there any, what is the impact from functionality 8 to functionality 12? Is there any impact? If you remember the example, like, top-down strategy, like integration test case or integration phase where you run, make sure that all modules works properly in all use cases. They are dependent, I mean to say. They are dependent. Okay, so when you see this, right, let's say these 4 modules are internally dependent, there is a huge risk then. Because the fix is given. The fix is given. Once the fix is given for the functionality 8, it can break the things or dependency modules that were working earlier. When I say working earlier, you observe this functionality 12 is there, 2 is failed, and you see this chart, here you said 24 is passed. Correct? But if there is a dependency in the high impact, right, we need to execute all 24 major test cases to make sure that this module works fine.
Yeah.
So how do you want to do a plan? So this plan will come up only once you have a good amount of test cases. You understand the system very well. You know that if I go there and verify the functionality 8 or whatever, is there any dependency or impact areas? You need to come up with these things in your test plan clearly. I'll tell you what happens. You'll take a negative case. Suppose you didn't come up with these these impact areas. What your team did is they executed all 4 tickets, okay, and they said, these tickets are working perfectly, and I said, see, once the 4 tickets are working fine, right, I'll say make it as 0. That means there is no failed test case now. There is no not even one test case failed. I'll say all test cases passed, and I'll release a bill to to a client or a build management team. I'll release, and he will say, looking at this table, okay, cool, like 4 tickets are fixed. Okay, we'll release the customer. Now, one customer is executing the case, right? He is able to see the verification for this functionality, and this is fixed. But he is trying to execute some use case on this 50 test cases. He has his own use case, right? As a customer or a client, he has his own use case. Once he executing, he found nothing is working. Then they will shoot a mail. Once a critical bug is given to QA, whether you guys verified only the bug or you guys ran any regression test case for a given fix. Yes or no? It's very simple. Then what you say? Probably no. We didn't execute, right? You just verify the tickets and release. We didn't execute. See, then what happens is, the mail chain, what happens is, they put a review meeting again. Why it is missed out? What was the reason to know we didn't come with the plan? Why it is not included in the test plan? So why the basic regression is not run properly? So these all things happen. So that's what reason I told the QA now, they execute a lot of regression test cases in each and every field. So please make sure that whenever there is a impact or dependency modules, you need to come up with a good regression test case to make sure that the product works fine, though there is a lot of changes happening within the build. A lot of changes in the sense, like a lot of fixes they are giving, environment change they are doing. It can be any change. So we need to execute each time the regression test case and make sure that there's a health of the product, to make sure that failed should be 0 or should be minimize the things, and pass test case should be obviously high.
Okay, got it.
Got it, right? Yeah. So I just shared real time things what generally we do. So recently what happened, how they execute the things, So we should be very careful in this test time. So for example, if I open the R&D chart, probably I'll just try to see what is there in R&D chart. Test case plan. Yeah. Yeah, if you see this, right, so what is the objective, what is the assumption, what is the principle, is there any way you see we need to prepare a test data? I told, right, while creating a test case, we also prepare a test data. In the template I clearly showed yesterday. So suppose for login, what is the test data, right? If you see you need really any test data for a test cases, right, you need to be clear in coming up with this test data. Or this also I covered, like what is the entry criteria and what is the exit criteria, and what is the validation or defect management tool we are using. This I'll cover in the next session. Probably then you get an idea what is defect tracking, how they manage things, and what is the process. And this also we covered, right? What is the risk and mitigation factors? And this also we covered something like communication. So it's kind of a review meetings, right? And each team member, what role they are playing. Suppose you are a lead, someone is a manager, someone is a junior. So what they, they play the role, how they communicate the things. So everything is, clearly included here. So if you see, what is the functional test, how to sign off, what is the readiness, what is the milestone, what is the waiting, what is the effort, what is the test cycles you are planning, what is the validation, metrics, everything is very clearly mentioned over there. What is the design process? But this will take a lot of time to develop this. I mean, it's one-time job. Like once you, if it's a product or a project, right? So once the template is fixed and you just, understand the product very well and start filling the things. It all again depends upon the product.
Yeah.
And what is the team, who is the lead, what is the development team, and what is the environment. This is very, very important. What kind of environment you are running. I am running now this is a version 6.0 or 3.0 running on. See, I just keep on telling, right? This has to be run on 8, 9, 10 with Firefox 27 as well as Google Chrome 32 and or later it will be available for each test, whatever. So you need to make sure that this product works fine in all the browsers. So what is your plan? Suppose there are 100 test cases. For each browser, 100 test cases will take 2 days. When I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means test in all 5 different browser versions. Okay, if you take 2 days, 5 into 2, 10 working days. Okay, so that's the plan. So you have a good team, and each team works at least close to 6 to 8 hours a day, and how much test case they execute. That's the way to come with a plan. We can't blindly, we can't say, oh, okay, no, we'll release it next week. We can't see that. Customer or development is, management team is forcing to, no, we should release next week. But what is your plan? Either we can release yes or no. If it is yes, how? If it is no, how? You clearly mention those things. So everything is included in the test plan.
Okay.
Okay. So that's all about what we discussed. So state transition and then test plan. You got it right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Cool. So probably you will once again go through the document and try to understand. Then you'll get a clear picture. Okay, this is how the test plan is. And then you start writing the test cases for Orange HRM. At least I want to see like 100, 200 test cases, bunch of test cases, so that we can real time I can show like you have written test cases. Right? I'll ask you to execute some of the things and we'll see how it is working.
Okay.
You want to simulate how internet works. You want at least we'll say something is failed. I'll ask you give the report like out of 20 test cases, how many test cases you executed today? It's very simple. Oh, okay, I executed 180, 20 is pending. Probably I'll complete by tomorrow, according to your plan or according to your estimation. But while executing the 20 test cases, you said no, all 20 got failed. Nothing is working. When you say fail, what is that? What is that fail? Is it a critical? Is it a major? Is it a minor? Is it a priority? So that we'll try to do that.
Okay.
Okay. So. What we'll try to management like our test plan. Okay, so there is a tool called TestLink. I told last time. There is a tool called TestLink. Is a free tool wherein we can manage your test cases.
Okay.
This is the URL. Probably I'll ping you. So whenever you're free, right, you can just look at this. This will help me in the next session. Probably I can't explain the whole.
Yeah, I'm not able to see it. That's fine. Okay, I will download. I need to download something or not?
No, not download. You're not able to see the screen?
Yeah, the screen, but the chat window is not coming. Okay. Yeah,
Oh, no,
okay.
just now
Yeah, got it.
I ping. Yeah,
I got
okay.
it. I got it. Okay.
Yes. It says login as admin and use admin as password. Okay. So,
But sir,
uh, yeah,
username, password, it's
admin. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Admin.
Okay, we need to,
So,
it's a free tool basically.
yes, it's a free open source tool. It's up and running on some server. It's a demo version. But if you, when I say demo version, is like again it's free actually. So you can write the test case and it is basically a public. But really, if
Okay.
you want to install in your local and you want to practice very well, that also you can do. They have the good installation process. I mean good document. You can install in your
Okay.
machine locally and you can start writing test cases. You can manage the things.
Okay.
The whole idea of this tool is to manage the test cases. See,
Okay.
if you take anything in this world, right? So there is a tool or there is an app. Suppose, for example, you want to book a ticket. Till now, we guys trying to do, IRCTC, Code.in, typical web application, right? Now, if you're using a mobile, they have a special app for that.
Yeah.
Special app. So that you click on app is very simple to use and book a ticket or transfer the amount or whatever. In the same way, suppose you are managing daily activities within your company, right? So within your team, you're planning daily activities. But what we do generally, we go to Excel, right, and say this is the date, this is what I did, and this is what team is doing, this is what the remarks or this is what the status basically. But now
Or
think
this
like
is.
if you have a tool, if you have a tool in front of you, probably I can record in the tool, right? So tool is always very easy to manage or to get the things. It's very easy.
Yeah.
If it is in Excel, you cannot create Excel sheet for every day. And down the line, if I see, hey, can you tell me last month what are the tasks you did? Then you will really struggle because there are a lot of sheets are there. You need to go each and every sheet and you will struggle like anything. Correct, right? You need some tool. See, in the same way, coming to testing, what QA guys will do, they write a lot of test case in test case templates. Do you remember, like last session, I explained there's a template. You need to start filling or writing a test case using some Excel templates. Already it is there in one of the Orange HRM, folder. It is there. So if you start writing this, then you really can't manage the things. When I say manage, suppose under you there are 10 members, and you want to see, I want to see all the test case for 6.5.build. We'll take the same example what I was talking. Then one guy will send, hey, I've written 10 test case. Another guy will send, hey, I've written 20 test case. Another guy 20. So all the mail you will bundle up, and again you have to see the whole bunch of things in different Excel sheet. It's really difficult to manage the things. You can't really say who is executing what. Yeah. So this tool, what it tries to does is like, this is kind of a test process or a test management tool wherein you can maintain all the test case. But apart from test case, even you can execute a test case, we can write a test plan, we can manage the builds. Okay, everything you can do.
Okay.
Or you can manage the requirement, you can map the requirements.
Okay.
Suppose requirement A is coming, everything is there. So probably you can see this is the system, this is a project. You can create a project. Let's say I'll create a test project management. I'll click on this. I'll create a, see this is public, right? A lot of people are trying and you can see a lot of projects over here. A lot of projects. Okay, I'll just try to create one. I'll say is not existing. This say
Like Google, we used to Google files. We used to share the like a thing.
okay. So what we used to share?
In Google, like we share that Google Sheet basically. That
Yeah, that's the Google Drive.
that's
Yeah,
just
generally. Yeah, we used to do. But ultimately, what these management tool will help us. I was talking about the 6.5. You remember that sheet, right? Tabular sheet where you found code critical, you executed 249 test case, everything. But from where you are getting this information? Who gave this? I know there are code critical. Who prepared the template for you? Some tool has to give you some meaningful information, right? Who executed? What is the critical issue? everything. So these tools will really help us in getting those information or reports.
Okay.
Probably you will get now start writing couple of test case in this tool
Okay.
for Orange HRM. Then
Okay.
I'll ask you. Then I'll what I'll demo is from scratch how the company does. Suppose I create a project, you get a requirement, you started doing the test planning as a QA, and build team
Okay.
is given the build. Then how do you manage? How do you bind these things with this tool? Not only
Okay.
don't think that this is only for test case management. This will really help us in managing the whole test process or QA process, at least up to some extent.
Okay.
But if you think in the market, there is a QC, there is quality center. People widely use in the market because there's a license tool. I think it will
Okay.
cost per month. It will cost at least $60 to $70 per month.
Okay. Okay.
One user for one user.
Okay.
So this is very licensed tool. I cannot demo it actually. We don't have any demo version for that. It's very you need to purchase the tool and start working on it. But there is no much difference between these tools. If you take any test management tool, right, they look more or less same. More or less same.
Okay.
At
Okay.
least for you as a fresher, you could confidently work on these management tools. And if you know this very well, then you can easily pick up the things in QC. It's not a great deal actually.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll create this test project. I'll don't worry about this. This thing I can probably explain. Explain later. Time. I'm just trying to create a project. I create a project with the name training something. Okay. Let's see. I'll go back. I'll go back to a drop down list. And I should be able to see something like training. Oh, this is not sorted. Okay.
You can search.
Yeah, I'm just clicking on T. Yeah, training project. Once you select a training project, you see nothing is coming up here on the right hand panel. Means it's clearly saying that you didn't create any plan, so you didn't create any build. Obviously, there is no test case. Correct, right? It's a brand new test project. Once I click on test plan, now you know what is test plan clearly. Correct, right? I give a lot of examples. So you can create test plan version underscore 1.2 or something like that. Okay. And here I can make this as active or public if you want. I can probably copy the Orange HRM one, right? The test plan, I can paste it here. That will work offline, right? I can copy paste it here and just say create. It will create a test plan. Okay. Now go back to again the home page. Now see. Till now you are seeing only one entry was allowed, right? The test plan. Now you see automatically something came up. Means I know the test plan is there. For a given plan, obviously there should be a build, right? Build is to execute. Something should be there. But if you go back to test specification, specification nothing but a test case basically. But if you see, there are no test case. There are no scenarios. Nothing is there. Correct? Means we need to create a test case now. You need to create a test case now. So how to create a test case?
Or we can browse the file also, same.
You can attach if you want. You can attach a file. There are a lot of features available. You can attach the things, but we don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Battery is low. So we don't want to attach. I'm looking for some button over here. Why it is not? No, actually, you should get a lot of buttons saying that test suite, test scenario, executing. So, whatever you see in this Excel template, right?
Yeah, maybe you need to click on side. There is a side also saying the side and all. Just go back.
What are test case you have, right? Everything need to record to this tool now. recording this tool. Okay.
Okay, yeah, this one, test case ID.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we need to do it one by one, no?
No, I think he's asking for a build. Okay, if I say build, I'll call this as 6.5. Was the example what I was saying. And description, you can add 10 fixes we are coming up with, and there is a new feature.
Yeah, that
something
I
you can add. Okay, then you can say create, and it's created. Then go back to test doc, and he's trying to attach a file. It's not happen actually. I'll try to create a requirement. Let's see what's happening. So, okay, that's fine. Oh, sorry. I think recently they changed this functionality. So generally what happens, I think this is 1.9, yeah, 1.9.10. So earlier I've seen 1.8. So what happens is once you click on this, right, automatically you get these things. So now it is hidden somewhere under actions. Okay. So when to create a test suite, what is the test suite is nothing but, I told, right, there is a test suite, test scenario, kind of a thing. So this comes something like a login. Let's say for a login you're working out, and don't worry about these keywords and all as of now. We'll try to create a suite first. For a given test suite, there are test cases. Correct, right? For a given test suite, there are test cases. So if you see this test case operation and this is a test suite operation, I can create as many as test suite and as many as test cases. Okay. So I'll click on create a test case operation. Test case is to validate or valid login check. What is the summary? Summary will be to validate the login feature with the valid cases. Correct? You remember this? I told, is there any preconditions for this in the template? Yesterday, what I was talking about, precondition. So app should be deployed if it is required. Otherwise, you can skip this. And you just say create. So this will create a suite just now, and we created a login test case. If you remember this Excel sheet, right? We created a login test case. So what are the steps? The steps and all I didn't create, right? So what this will do is, can you see a button here? Create steps. Yeah. Click on this, and you'll get one more panel, and it's asking for what is your action? What is the steps action? So you know, as right? So as based on the requirement, probably you can come up with your the test steps. You'll say in the login panel, enter the username, password, all steps. And what is the expected result? If you see this, right? What is the expected result? See here. See, you cannot maintain in Excel sheet. I'll tell you what is the problem in maintaining that. Expected is the user should be able to log in successful, whatever, something you will say, and save this. Okay, I'll try to execute one use case, probably better clarity, then you can practice it. Okay, now I'll go back to home page. Correct. We have done with the test plan. Correct, right? The test plan is 1.0, and we just created a build What is that build? Go to build release. There is something like 6.5 and go back to desktop once again, or you can directly go to test specification. Test specification is the area where you keep all your test cases, and you have written one test cases, and one test case will look like this. See this? How it looks? You can attach the requirement. If you want, you can browse this thing. You can't upload any kind of screen, any kind of a document. We can do that. But come back to Excel. Can you do this here? See this guy, what he has done? He has attached a document within Excel sheet. It's very difficult to manage the things, right? Something went wrong or Excel screws up. It's very difficult to do that. Okay. So now test case is ready, suite is ready, plan is ready, build is ready. Now I think it's time to execute the things. But before that, we need to attach to a test plan. So I don't know where it is. Yeah. Can you see a button here, add to test plan? See, the idea is you have created test case, you have created a test plan. But there is no rule that, let's say you have 4,000 test cases. Okay. There is no rule that you should execute all 4,000 test cases in a given build 6.5. Correct, right? It all depends which test case you want to be part of test plan. Which test case is to be part of a test plan. When I say part of test plan, you analyze and say, hey, this login is very important and this has to be included in the plan. Already you have done the plan, right? Plan very well. So come back here. Can you remember this name? Test plan 1.0. That's already we create outside system and click on add button. Once you add it, right, the meaning of this is this test case now belongs to test plan called test plan 1.0. Okay. Now it's time to execute the things. Let's say they have given the build to you. They sent a mail saying that build 6.5 is deployed on QA environment. It's time to execute. Now you are ready with the test plan. You are ready with the test case. If resources are there, directly you can execute. No, you see this? And under test execution, under test plan, under 6.5 is a build. You got one test cases. Now imagine that you are executing the test case. Now what I'll do in typical, I'll open orange SRM, correct? That's what a test case says, right? I'll just log out.
Okay, if it runs
Open orange SRM. So whatever the steps is given, same way I'm going to execute. It says enter password, click on login. Same way I'm going to do that. Login. I logged in, but I don't know what is the expected result. I'll see what is the expected result over here. And it says something, okay? It should be something like login successful or whatever. Oh, login is successful. This is fine. You're able to log in, right? Then what you will do? What you will do generally?
Run. Pass.
Pass, right? And say save execution. Now see, this test case is passed. So now imagine there are 4,000 test cases in front of you. All 4,000 are there in the test plan 1.0. Each time you should go back and click the test case and write a test case, detailed level test case, attach to the test plan and execute once the build is ready. Now I'll show you one demo. Okay, so this is working, right? Now I'll do a reverse case. Suppose login is not working. You're not able to log in. You're getting a blank page. Means this is failed. Once this is failed, right, you cannot execute any of the dependence cases. Correct, right? First of all, login is not. Then you can mention after login, I'm getting a blank page, something like this, and you can say save execution if you want. But if you look at the report now, we'll see the report. There are a lot of report charts available. We'll see that later, but at least I'll try to explain what is now. Now, if somebody asks you, hey, what is the percentage of a test case executed so far? Now imagine there are 20 test cases. Okay, what is the percentage? Definitely you can't give. If I ask you to open this Excel and give me like what is the percentage, you will take a lot of time to do this because 5 resources are working under you and you really can't do this. It will take a lot of time. And to collect the information, put a formula, put a count. If there are 10, it's very difficult to do that. Now look at this tool or any tool, probably will give the same thing. It says login is a suite. There is one test case, not run 0, failed 0, since there's only one test case, right? Obviously, 100 test cases is executed. So one test case is failed.
Okay, got it.
So like this, we have lot of the reporting features. Suppose you want to send a mail, you can send a mail. You want to export to Excel, you can do that. Probably at a time, I don't want to explain all the features, make you confused. What we should do is, already I pinged the URL for you. Log in as admin, and select a project as training project. Okay, and start creating a test case over here. I mean, go to test specification and click on the suite here, login suite, and go to this button, settings button. Don't click on this because this is test suite actually. Click on test case operation. Yeah, I'll show another case.
Yeah, I got it.
Let me put a couple of things so you can continue. So okay, this is for error validation or something. And if there are any precondition, you can mention. Otherwise, you can just leave it. Say create. Test case has been created. Now I'll go back to create steps method. And what are the steps to do this? Probably I should give a wrong username and password, right? So I'll enter over here. And what is the expected? Expected is something. Oh, I copied something. I think. Okay.
Don't worry, I got it.
Okay, so I think so you should not be able to log in as any test data you can mention over here. I can just say, and you can attach to a test plan. This is very important because most of the time what we do is we miss out. Even I got confused on sometimes because you are not attaching to a test plan, right? When you go to test execution, you can't see this. I'll show an sample example. See, actually you create two test cases, but there is only one test case here. The reason here is you didn't attach the test case to a test plan. This is a mandatory. So now what I'll do, click on action once again, go to add to test plan. Each time you should add a test case to a test plan. Now if you go to test execution, you should be able to see two test case. I'll click on this and make sure that this is 6.5, 6.5, whatever. Or let's say, for example, in the previous login was failed, right? I'll create one more build now. You rejected the build and you got another build saying that 6.5.1. We'll call some name, some meaningful name. So 6.5 is a version, 1 is a minor version. Fix given or fixes given for something you can mention. Okay, and come back here and say create, and now go to test execution, and you should select. See, by default it's select 6.5. Be careful. You should select 6.5.1, and obviously two test cases are not executed. Correct, right? Now these test cases belong to 6.5.1 under this plan. Now click on this. This was not working earlier. Again, I'll open Orange HRM. Okay, I'll try to execute the things. If it is, okay. It is working. Then I'll make this as fast.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay, got it.
So there are a lot of features within this testing. Probably we can now see down the line one by one. Okay. So, but ideally, what happens? All the tools, if you see QC and all, somewhere in the net, it will be more or like same. There's a test plan, there's a requirement, there is a build, there is a test case, there is a test suite attached to that and execute. The process is very common in nature. I mean to say. And don't be worried that there is no QC. I didn't get any information about QC, and don't be wondering in intro. You can confidently say that yes, we worked on open source tool, and this is how we managed. That's fine. That's fine. Yes, okay. So this is all about your test cases. I think I can end the session. So we talk more about the state transition test plan. I gave a couple of scenarios for once the fix is given, how do you basically plan it, and also we try to see the test link is a test management tool, the basic use case within testing, how to use this, and hope you got clarity right by now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you wind up this session like till 1 to 5, what we learned, we talked about importance of testing, why testing is so important. We talked about fundamentals. We talked about techniques, test case management, test plan. You know, just now we talked about testing is a process. I mean, test management tool. So everything is in front of you now. So you know how to create test case, test plan, execution style. You know how to do this. Now it's time to what I expect from you is okay.
Yeah.
So you need to thoroughly see the test plan once again for an HRM. Try to whatever the test case are written in Excel sheet, right? Try to bring that into a testing. Probably you write your own test case for any module. It's left to you. Take a module and come up with the test cases and write it down in testing. Because since it's public, right? Probably I can check at offline also. I mean, whenever I go back, right? I can check anywhere. The public this one, right? I'll go to training project only. We know that we created this, so I'll go there and see what kind of test case it's written. Everything I can watch directly, and you can tell me this is what test case I have written. Please review or whatever. So we'll try to fine tune if anything you require from me or anything you are missing. I can guide you and make sure that you are strong in these areas. What we learned till now.
Okay.
Okay. Then till now I said only failed cases, right? But we really don't know how to manage the failed cases. So that's called the defect tracking tool. So defect tracking we'll see tomorrow.
Okay.
For defect tracking also there is a tool called Bugzilla.
Bugzilla, yeah.
Yeah, Bugzilla is the most of the company they use. It's very widely and very popular. You might have used it somewhere in your Okay, then fine. So that's very easy to explain for me then. Probably we'll go for a demo and we'll see if it is real. Like as a QA, what they do, I'll try to explain that. Okay, then you can relate the things. Okay. So once this is done, and probably I think this week somewhere the mid or whatever we to plan to close this manual stuff, and then I'll go for a database testing. You ask for a ETL, right? So we'll plan for a high level ETL testing. And also we'll try to see in agile model like how they execute the things. Those miscellaneous part we'll try to understand. Probably this week I think it will be more comfortable in completing the manual test. Manual test. What is the course content? So next week onwards, we need to work on the automation part. Okay.
Yeah.
So automation part. I need to check a lot of things in your machine. Like I'll send you the offline messages. Like Java should be installed. Eclipse should be there. If Eclipse is not there, please download because it has around 150 or 200 MB, I believe. You can download from the internet. You can start things. That we'll see later. Probably still we have 1 week.
Yeah,
time,
but
right? So we'll try to do
yeah.
that we can see later. Okay.
Okay.
So I can end the session now. You have any questions or something like you can ask me now.
Yeah, today I got it. Almost everything I got it. Let me do these test cases. Okay, I will try this test link software and try to upload the text space and try to go through Orange SRM and try to write a new case also tomorrow. Yeah.
Because I keep on going with theory, right? So, I mean, you understood everything, but I want you to do a kind of a real-time stuff so that you will get more confidence. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Okay.